I'm staring at my computer screen like it might suddenly make sense. I've been scrolling through the university's graduation photos for 20 minutes, searching for my son Blake. When I finally find him, my coffee mug slips from my hand and shatters on the floor. There he is in his cap and gown, smiling bigger than I've seen in years. But the people around him aren't me, his father, or his little sister. They're complete strangers. A middle-aged couple and two teenage girls are hugging him like he belongs to them. The woman has her arm around Blake's shoulders. The man's hand rests on his back. They're all dressed up, like parents do for graduation. My hands start shaking so hard I can barely hold my phone. I paid $180,000 for his education. I worked double shifts at the hospital for 4 straight years. My feet still ache from all those extra hours. And I'm not in a single photo. Nobody even told me when graduation was happening. I call Blake immediately. It goes straight to voicemail. I call again. Voicemail. My fingers are trembling as I type a text. We need to talk about your graduation. I watch the screen. 1 hour passes. Then 2. Then 3. Finally, at almost midnight, my phone buzzes. Mom, I'm busy celebrating. Can this wait? My heart pounds as I type back. Who are those people in your photo? The message shows, read, immediately. Then nothing. I call 17 more times that night. Every single call goes to voicemail. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, watching shadows move across the walls. At 2 in the morning, the truth hits me like ice water. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an oversight. My son deliberately excluded me from the biggest day of his life. He chose these strangers over his own mother. Sleep doesn't come. By sunrise, I've made a decision. I'm driving to Durning Falls, to the apartment I've been paying $1,400 a month for. I need answers. The 4-hour drive feels like forever. My mind races with questions I can't answer. When I finally reach Blake's apartment building, my key doesn't work in the lock. I try it 3 times before accepting the truth. He changed the locks. I knock on the door, my heart hammering. Blake opens it but doesn't step aside. He blocks the doorway with his whole body, like I'm a stranger selling something. What are you doing here? He asks. His tone is cold, annoyed. Behind him, I can see cardboard boxes stacked against the wall. Blake, who are those people in your graduation photo? I ask. My voice sounds small and broken. He glances back into the apartment, then pulls the door almost closed behind him. Mom, you're embarrassing yourself, he says quietly. Those are the Castellanos. They've been more of a family to me than you ever were. Before I can respond, he steps back inside and locks the door. I stand there for 10 minutes, knocking and calling his name. He never opens the door again. I sit in my car in the parking lot for 3 hours. People walk past, giving me strange looks. I don't care. Finally, I do what I should have done right away. I search Castellano and Durning Falls on my phone. I find her immediately. Veronica Castellano. Her social media profile is completely public. I start scrolling, and each photo feels like a punch to the stomach. Blake at their Thanksgiving table, carving turkey. Blake on their boat, laughing with the sun in his face. Blake in an ugly Christmas sweater, opening presents in their living room. Blake teaching their teenage daughters how to parallel park. Every single holiday for 4 years. Every milestone I thought he was spending alone or with college friends. My son had an entire second life I knew nothing about. The most recent post was yesterday. So proud of our bonus son Blake on his graduation day. 4 years ago, a scared freshman walked into our restaurant, and he became part of our hearts forever. Love you, kiddo. I drive home in a daze. That night, I can't sleep. At 3 in the morning, I pull out my filing cabinet and spread bank statements across the kitchen table. Every tuition payment, carefully made on time. Every rent check for that apartment he just locked me out of. Every deposit I made to his account for groceries and expenses. The calculator on my phone shows the total, $180,000 over 4 years. Then I look at Blake's social media again, really studying it this time. Photos of him at expensive restaurants I could never afford. Spring break in the Montara Islands. A brand new laptop. Designer sneakers. None of this matches the tight budget I thought he was living on. Then I see it, a photo from 8 months ago. Blake is wearing a watch I recognize because I looked at it online when shopping for his graduation gift. It costs $3,000. Veronica's caption reads, "Early graduation gift for our brilliant boy. You deserve the world." The next day, I call in sick to work for the first time in 2 years. I drive back to Durning Falls and go straight to Castellano's Bistro. It's exactly the kind of place I imagined. Upscale, busy, with cloth napkins and fresh flowers on every table. I sit at the bar and order coffee I don't drink. Within 10 minutes, a woman emerges from the kitchen. She's beautiful, elegant, with perfect hair and an easy smile. She laughs with customers like she's known them forever. Everything about Veronica Castellano radiates warmth. I feel small and worn out in comparison. A server walks past and mentions Blake's table in the corner. Apparently my son has a regular spot here. How long has Blake been coming here? I ask the bartender casually. "Oh, since freshman year," he says cheerfully. "He's practically family now." Mrs. Castellano treats him like her own son. The words hit me so hard I can barely breathe. I've been replaced. Completely and totally replaced. I wait at that bar for 2 hours, nursing cold coffee. Then Blake walks through the front door. He sees me and freezes. For a second, I think he might turn around and leave. But then Veronica spots him from across the room. "There's my graduate," she calls out, rushing over to wrap him in a huge hug. She's still hugging him when she notices me sitting there. Her smile falters. "Your mom is here too." "Oh." Blake mutters something to her I can't hear. Veronica looks between us, confused. "Blake, honey, did you tell your mother about the graduation ceremony?" He shifts uncomfortably. "It's complicated, Veronica." Something inside me snaps. I stand up, and my voice comes out louder than I intended. What's complicated is that I paid for 4 years of college, and my son replaced me with complete strangers. The entire restaurant goes silent. Every conversation stops. Veronica's face goes pale. "You paid for his school," she whispers. "Blake said you weren't involved in his life." Veronica insists we talk in her office. Blake tries to leave, but she stops him with one sharp look. In the small office that smells like garlic and wine, the truth starts spilling out. Blake told the Castellanos I abandoned him. That I was never there. That he was putting himself through college with scholarships and part-time jobs. That he had no family support at all. Veronica's hands shake as she talks. "He told us you forgot about him on holidays. That you spent all your money on yourself and he couldn't even afford textbooks sometimes." Each lie she repeats feels like a knife in my chest. She describes stories Blake told, missing his high school graduation because I was too busy, forgetting his birthday multiple times, refusing to help when he was struggling. None of it is true. None of it ever happened. Veronica looks sick. "Blake, why would you lie about all of this?" Her voice breaks on the question. Blake stares at the floor, his jaw tight. He won't look at either of us. Finally, Blake speaks. What comes out is somehow worse than his silence. "You were never really there, Mom. Sure, you paid the bills, but that's just money. Anyone can write a check. Veronica actually cared about my life. She asked about my classes, my friends, my dreams. You just worked all the time." I feel like he slapped me across the face. "I worked all the time to pay for your college, Blake. Every double shift, every missed dinner, every time my feet were bleeding from standing 12 hours. It was all for you." He shakes his head. That was your choice. I never asked you to sacrifice everything. The Castellanos welcomed me into their lives because they wanted to, not because they felt obligated. Veronica interrupts. Blake, stop. This isn't okay. But he keeps going. I'm 22 years old. I get to choose my own family now. And I choose them. The words hang in the air like poison. Veronica looks horrified. I feel numb all over. I leave the restaurant without saying another word. At home, I pull out the parent loan documents from my filing cabinet. $80,000 borrowed in my name for Blake's last 2 years. Money I'll be paying off for the next decade. I'm 51 years old, and I'll be paying my son's college debt until I'm 60. I also find every birthday card I sent him over 4 years. Every care package receipt. Every "I love you" text that he left on read. The evidence of my love is overwhelming. The evidence of his is nowhere. I call my lawyer, Mr. Patterson, first thing Monday morning. If Blake wants to choose his family, fine, I tell him. But he doesn't get to rewrite history while I'm still drowning in his debt. Mr. Patterson reviews all my documents. Diana, you have grounds for a civil suit. These parent loans are in your name. If he's claiming you weren't supportive while actively taking your money, that could be considered fraud. I ask for 24 hours to think about it. I already know what I'll decide. That night, my daughter Kelsey comes to my room. She's 16 years old and crying so hard she can barely breathe. She shows me her phone. Blake blocked her on every social media platform. She reached out from a friend's account. Why did you block me? What did I do wrong? His response makes me want to scream. I'm starting fresh with people who actually care about me. The Castellanos are my real family now. Stop contacting me. Kelsey worshipped her older brother her entire life. She saved her birthday money to send him care packages at college. Homemade cookies, funny cards, little gifts she thought he'd like. Now she's sobbing in my arms, asking what she did to make him hate her. She didn't do anything. Neither did I. But watching my daughter's heart break into pieces is the moment I decide for certain. I'm done protecting Blake from consequences. He made choices. Now he gets to live with them. Tomorrow, I'm filing that lawsuit. I send Blake a formal letter through Mr. Patterson. It's not a lawsuit yet, just an invoice. $180,000, itemized, tuition, room and board, monthly deposits, textbooks, everything. The letter includes one simple request: acknowledge that I provided this support, or return the money. I'm giving him one last chance to tell the truth. The letter is delivered on Monday. By Wednesday, I receive a response. But it's not from Blake. It's from a lawyer representing him. The letter says that any money I provided was a parent's basic legal obligation, and that Blake owes me nothing legally or morally for choosing to fulfill my parental duties. The letter also threatens a restraining order if I continue harassing him and his chosen family. I read it 3 times. Then I cry for an hour. Then I get angry, angrier than I've ever been in my entire life. Blake wants to play legal games? Fine. Let's play. I spend the next 2 weeks building my case like my life depends on it. I gather every text message, every email, every social media post. I compile screenshots of Blake accepting my money while telling the Castellanos I wasn't involved. I get written statements from my supervisor at the hospital showing all my double shifts. Bank records proving I emptied my retirement fund for his senior year. Medical records showing I postponed my own knee surgery to afford his textbooks. Mr. Patterson reviews everything and nods slowly. This isn't just about money anymore, Diana. This is about setting the record straight. This is about the truth. I also do something that surprises even me. I reach out to Veronica Castellano through social media. I expect her to ignore me. Instead, she responds within an hour. I think we need to talk. Can we meet somewhere neutral? We agree on a coffee shop halfway between our towns. I'm terrified and hopeful at the same time. Veronica arrives exactly on time. She looks exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. "I need you to know something right away," she says before she even sits down. "I never would have gotten this involved if I'd known the truth. Never." She pulls out her own phone and shows me text messages from Blake. Stories about a childhood of neglect that never happened. Descriptions of me choosing work over him that completely ignore why I was working. "He's a really good liar," she says quietly. "He made me believe I was rescuing him from a terrible situation." She tells me she confronted Blake after our meeting at the restaurant. He insisted I was rewriting history to make myself look like a victim. But Veronica isn't stupid. She started seeing the cracks in his stories, the inconsistencies. "I have 2 daughters," she says. "I can't teach them that it's okay to use people and then throw them away like trash." We talk for 2 hours. By the end, we're not enemies. We're both mothers who loved the same boy in very different ways. I file the lawsuit the next week. We're not suing for the full $180,000. Mr. Patterson says that's unlikely to win. Instead, we're suing for the $80,000 in parent loans, which are legally in my name and were obtained based on Blake's claims of financial need. We're also suing for emotional distress based on his deliberate lies that damaged my reputation. The lawsuit becomes public record immediately. Within 3 days, a local news station picks it up. Mother sues son after being excluded from graduation he paid for. The story goes viral on social media. Thousands of people share it. The comments are overwhelming, and almost all of them support me. People are calling Blake ungrateful, cruel, manipulative. His social media gets flooded with angry messages. The Castellanos restaurant starts getting 1-star reviews from strangers calling them homewreckers and family destroyers. I feel guilty about that part. Veronica didn't know. She was manipulated too. But the internet doesn't care about details. Blake's lawyer calls Mr. Patterson requesting an emergency settlement meeting. We meet at a conference room downtown. Blake shows up looking awful. Dark circles under his eyes. Wrinkled shirt. His hair uncombed. All the confidence is gone. "Are you happy now?" he asks me before anyone else can speak. "You've completely ruined my life." I look at this stranger who used to be my little boy. "I didn't ruin your life, Blake," I say calmly. "I gave you a life. You're the one who threw it away." His lawyer clears his throat and suggests Blake issue a public apology and agree to a payment plan for the parent loans. Blake's face turns red. "I'm not admitting I was wrong when I wasn't," he says loudly. "She's making herself look like a victim, and everyone's falling for it." Mr. Patterson slides a folder across the table. These are bank statements, text messages, and witness statements that prove every claim in our lawsuit. "You want to go to trial? We're ready." The mediation ends with no agreement. We're going to court. 2 weeks before the trial, something unexpected happens. Kelsey writes a letter to the judge without telling me. I only find out when Mr. Patterson receives a copy from the court. My hands shake as I read it. She describes watching me work myself to exhaustion for years. How Blake would call home asking for money, then ignore us for weeks afterward. How he stopped coming home for holidays without any explanation. How he told her she was too young to understand adult relationships when she asked why he never visited anymore. The judge allows it into evidence as a victim impact statement. Reading it in court makes me cry so hard I can barely see. My daughter saw everything I tried to hide from her. She watched me sacrifice and suffer and pretend everything was fine. The letter ends with words I'll never forget. "My brother taught me that love is a choice. My mom chose to love him unconditionally for 22 years. He chose to love conditionally. I choose my mom." The courtroom is completely silent. The trial only lasts 2 days. Blake's defense is simple. He's a legal adult who doesn't owe his parents anything. My lawyer argues that's true, but fraud is still fraud. The parent loans were taken based on information Blake provided, that he desperately needed financial support and had no other resources. If he was simultaneously building a second family and accepting expensive gifts while claiming poverty to me, that's misrepresentation. The Costallanos are called to testify. Veronica looks miserable on the witness stand. She's honest, and her testimony is devastating for Blake. She confirms he told her I was absent and neglectful. She confirms giving him expensive gifts while believing he was struggling financially. She confirms he spent every holiday with her family while telling her I'd forgotten about him. The judge listens carefully, taking detailed notes. When Blake testifies, he still insists he did nothing wrong. I just wanted a real family, he says. The judge's expression doesn't change, but I see her write something down quickly. The judge takes 3 days to make her decision. When we return to court, the room is packed with people who've been following the case online. The judge speaks clearly and firmly. Blake must repay $50,000 of the parent loans over 10 years. He must also issue a written statement correcting the lies he told about me. Not an apology, just facts. The emotional distress claim is dismissed. The judge explains, while an adult child may choose their relationships freely, they may not do so through fraud and misrepresentation. The defendant accepted substantial financial support while deliberately lying about his circumstances to both his mother and others. This constitutes unjust enrichment. It's not everything I wanted, but it's vindication. As we leave the courthouse, Blake stops me on the steps. Are you satisfied now? He asks bitterly. You got your money and destroyed my relationship with the Costallanos. I look at him and realize I don't recognize my son anymore. Maybe I never really knew him at all. I hope you figure out what really matters someday, I tell him. Then I walk away. 8 months pass like a nightmare for Blake. I hear about his life through mutual friends who still talk to both of us. 3 job offers get rescinded when background checks reveal the lawsuit. Companies see a pattern of dishonesty and manipulation, and they don't want that in an employee. 14 more job applications get rejected. His engineering degree, the one I sacrificed everything for, sits unused while he works retail just to pay rent. He moves to Redwood City, trying to escape his reputation, but the internet follows him everywhere. The Costallanos block him on all social media after their daughters learn the full truth. His college friends stop answering his calls. He's completely alone. Then, on a cold Tuesday evening, my doorbell rings. Blake stands on my porch looking like a ghost. He's lost weight, his clothes are shabby, and his eyes are hollow. Mom, he whispers. Can we please talk? I don't answer right away. We stand there in the freezing air. Finally, I step aside and let him in. He sits on the couch where he watched cartoons as a kid, and he breaks down completely. The job rejections. The loneliness. The crushing weight of realizing that the Costallanos' love disappeared the moment his lies were exposed. I destroyed everything, he sobs. My career, my relationships, my whole life. All because I was too proud and stupid to appreciate what I had right in front of me. He looks up at me with desperate red eyes. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, I was wrong. About everything. You were never the problem, Mom. I was. Kelsey appears in the doorway. She heard his voice from upstairs. Blake turns to her, tears streaming down his face. Kels, I'm so sorry. You deserved so much better than the brother I was. She doesn't run to him or hug him. She just stands there, staring at this broken version of the person she used to worship. I can see her processing years of pain and confusion and abandonment. Blake pulls an envelope from his jacket pocket with shaking hands. Inside is a check for $3,000. I sold the watch Veronica gave me, he says quietly. It's not much compared to what I owe you, but it's a start. I want to pay you back, Mom. All of it. Even if it takes the rest of my life. I look at my son, really look at him, and for the first time in 2 years, I see something different. Not entitlement or arrogance. Just genuine remorse and shame and desperate hope. This doesn't fix anything overnight, Blake, I say slowly. You broke something that can't be easily repaired. Trust doesn't come back just because you're finally sorry. He nods, wiping his eyes with his sleeve. I know that. But I'm asking, I'm begging, for a chance to try. Not to go back to how things were before, because that's impossible. But to build something new. Something honest and real this time. I glance at Kelsey. She's crying too, but she gives me a tiny nod. We've both been waiting for this moment without even realizing it. The anger that's been burning in my chest for months suddenly feels heavy and exhausting. You can stay for dinner, I finally say. Just dinner. After that, we'll take things one day at a time. Blake's whole face crumbles with relief. Thank you, he whispers. Thank you so much. As I walk to the kitchen to start cooking, I realize something important. Forgiveness isn't weakness. Setting boundaries isn't cruelty. Blake needs to earn his way back into our lives, step by painful step. It might take years. It might never be the same. But maybe, just maybe, my son is finally ready to become the man I always believed he could be. The road ahead is long and uncertain and probably full of setbacks. But tonight, for the first time since I saw that graduation photo, I feel something I thought I'd lost forever. I feel hope. And sometimes, hope is enough to start healing. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe the channel and leave us a comment.